Hi friends, so welcome back. We are going to begin a new class. I hope you are all making yourself busy with your studies as the exams are coming closer. You need to spend more time in studies, reading the books again and again and understanding every point of the text. So we have been studying about how the wildlife and the natural life, natural vegetation, how they are being declined over the years, and it has become the reality that they have become few in numbers, and some of the species have already disappeared. And so, no use of crying over what is spilt, but what we can do is think about the future so that such things will not occur again. We will be able to preserve or conserve what is already available and carry them forward and increase their number. That is what we can do. So let us see today in what way or through what methods we can implement these methods of conservation. So that is what we are going to see. You can follow in your textbook, page number 18. So we already said that the declination is at a rapid speed. Very fast some of the species are getting disappeared, and therefore it is very essential that we start the methods of conservation. We cannot delay, we cannot say I will start afterwards. We have to start from right now, because the disappearing of the species, the declining of the species is going on very fast. If we wait for a few more years to start conservation methods or conservation, then those species will be no more found there and you will not be able to help them. So we have to start right now. Now we may ask the question, why do we need to conserve our forests and wildlife? So people who are not aware about the importance of forests or importance of wildlife, they may ask, why do you take so much trouble? Why to make so much of expense in order to protect this forest and wildlife? What are they? What for are they? And so people may ask such kind of questions. So we need to make them realize or make ourselves realize that it is because of the conservation that the ecological diversity is preserved. So if this conservation is not taking place, then the ecology will be ruined. It cannot survive. So the animals, the plants, all these together coexist. Then only the ecology becomes complete. Otherwise the ecology will be in imbalance. There will be no balance between them at all. Therefore it is for our own benefit that we are protecting the forest, conserving the animals and the species. So what are the things that we find in the ecology? We find water is there, air is there, and soil is there. So these three things are part of this ecosystem. So if these trees are not there, naturally the water source will dry up and the air will become polluted and the soil will be dry. So just because these trees are there, we have all these things: water, air, soil, all that. The moment trees are cut down, it may turn out to be desert, like we have desert land in Rajasthan. There are no trees, no rain, and it is turned out to be a desert. So same thing can happen in different parts of our country if we are not careful, if we are not taking enough precautions. Then it also preserves the genetic diversity of plants and animals for better growth of species and breeding. So another importance of conservation is that it will help to breed better breeding. We will get better animals, better plants, and so on. So conservation. If you don't conserve, what happens? They will become weaker and weaker. They will not become strong, but they will become weak. The animals may lose their habitat and they will become weaker and weaker. One day they will die. And the trees, if you cut down, then those trees will not be found anywhere, without water in the dry land, that tree also will die. So in order to preserve and make them better breed, we need to do this conservation. That is the second reason why we need conservation. First one we said it is to preserve the ecological diversity and the life supporting systems, water, air and soil. Second one is to get better breeds. For example, let us say in agriculture, we still depend on traditional crop varieties, and fisheries too are heavily dependent on maintenance of aquatic biodiversity. So in the villages around we can find people who are doing farming. They don't use the modern methods, they don't use the modern seeds, the high variety of seeds, high yielding variety, all those things they don't use. They still depend on their traditional way of cultivation or traditional way of growing fish and so on. But if you do conservation, we can have better seeds, we can have better variety of fish and so on. So in 1960s and 70s, that is some 50-60 years ago, conservationists demanded the National Wildlife Protection Program. So people who are interested or people who are supporting this conservation, they demanded to the government that there should be a National Wildlife Protection Program. So there should be a program made for protecting the wildlife, the natural vegetation, the animals and so on. And accordingly, the Indian Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 with various provisions for protecting inhabitants, protecting habitats. So, as the people demanded for a scheme or a program for protecting the animals and the wildlife and the natural vegetation, government accepted their demand and government introduced a new law in the parliament and created an organization. It is named as the Indian Wildlife Protection Act, that was implemented in 1972. Then the main purpose was to protect their habitats, not to destroy the forest, not to destroy the place where animals are living. Then an all India list of protected species was also published. So when they prepared this program, government also published a list of species that is endangered, that we need to protect more. And the thrust of the program was towards protecting the remaining population of certain endangered species. So some are already lost, no use of crying over them. But the main purpose of this program was to protect the habitat and also to preserve the existing species, the plants and the animals that are already existing now but very few in number. Protect them, preserve them and keep them for future. That was also included in the program of the government. Then the government also banned the activities of human beings that it disturbs the animals and the trees. So for example, the government banned the hunting. Those who are going to the forest for hunting, they will be arrested and put in jail. Then giving legal protection to the habitats. So government wanted to give legal protection to the habitats, the place where animals are living. That is how forest in charges are there. So police is there, forest officers are there to guard and protect the habitat of this animal, so that nobody will go there and disturb them. Then restricting trade in wildlife. Another thing that the government did was the trade or the business in wildlife, that is selling the wild animals, maybe meat, their skin, their bones, their horn, teeth, all these things. If anybody is doing business in this animal trade, then they will be caught. So government did all these things so that people will not destroy the livestock. Then subsequently, central and many state governments established national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, about which you have already studied. So since the government is making it aware to the people and how important it is to protect the wildlife and the natural vegetation, and government has made it a rule, a lot of provisions are made to protect them, and so different state governments and the central government, they also began to take different steps in order to protect these animals. So they started national parks where the animals can live freely, and the wildlife sanctuary and so on. So the government began to take steps in order to protect them, in order to keep them safe. Then the central government also announced several projects for protecting specific animals which are gravely threatened, including the tiger, the one-horned rhinoceros, Kashmir stag, or Hangul, and 3 types of crocodiles: freshwater crocodile, saltwater crocodile, and the gharial. So government also began to give importance, protections to the specific animals that are being listed as endangered, or some of them are threatened, their existence is threatened. So government began to take extra care for these animals that are left very few in number, and some of them are the tiger. Tiger is a threatened animal, very few are there in number. Then the one-horned rhinoceros, so you'll find in Assam one-horned rhinoceros, that also is a threatened animal. Then the Kashmir stag, kind of deer found in Kashmir. Then the local name for that is Hagul. Then 3 types of crocodiles. There are 3 types of crocodiles also that are being in the list of endangered. So one is freshwater crocodile, second one is saltwater crocodile, and the third one is the gharial. Then the Asiatic lion, the lion that is found in Asia, that also is in the group of endangered species. Then most recently, the Indian elephant, the black buck, and the great Indian bustard, and the snow leopard have been given full or partial legal protection against hunting and trade throughout India. So government also has identified some more animals that are in the list of endangered species. So government is giving legal protection to Indian elephant, or the black buck, and the great Indian bustard. So these 3 animals are, and also the snow leopard. These 4 animals are also getting special protection from the government. So government will give security there, and if anyone comes for hunting them or poaching them, then they can be arrested and put in jail. And now let us see about another thing called Project Tiger. Project Tiger. So we already said that tiger are also in the endangered species. So what is the government doing in order to protect this tiger, in order to take care of this tiger? That is what we are going to study in the case the Project Tiger. So tiger is one of the key wildlife species in fauna world. So among the animals, tiger is one of the most important species. And in 1973, the authorities realized that tiger population has dwindled to 1827. Dwindle means becoming less. It has come down. The number of tigers has come down. And altogether in the country, only 1827 species, only 27 number of tigers were there. And so it was too less. And yearly there were 55,000 tigers were there. So from 55,000 tigers it came down to 1827. So you can imagine more than 52,000 of tigers were killed or they were destroyed. So that's at a rapid speed the people were doing the hunting, and from 55,000 it came down to 1827. So much of loss, so much of killing was there. And so government felt the need for protecting the tiger. So government organized a special project in order to protect these tigers. And the major threats to tiger population are numerous. So tigers are facing a lot of problems. What are the problems? Let us see. First one is poaching. Hunting is there. Animals are being hunted by the people for trade, for selling and so on. Then shrinking habitat. Their place of living, their place of shelter is shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller because of deforestation and other activities. So animals are no more free to live there. They don't feel safety. So that is another reason. Then depletion of prey. So the prey, tigers, they are eating other small animals. So the animals are becoming less and less. The deer, the rabbit, all those things are becoming lesser and lesser. And so tiger is not getting enough food. So naturally they will die away if they don't have enough food to eat. So that is another problem that they are facing. Then another thing is growing human population. As the human beings are increasing in number, they are going on attacking the forest. They want to cut down the trees, make it their area, cultivation area or house and so on. So because of all these things, we see the tiger population has come down to such a great extent. Then the trade of tiger skins and the use of their bones in traditional medicines, especially in the Asian countries, led the tiger population on the verge of extinction. So people were killing tiger mainly for two reasons. One is to take out their skin. Tiger skin is in high demand for selling. They get plenty of money. Another thing is the bones of the tiger are very good for medicine, especially in these Asian countries. People who make home medicines or local medicine, traditional medicine, they mix this tiger's bone also inside this medicine, and they say this medicine is very effective. So for skin and for bones, people have been killing tiger mercilessly, and therefore the number of tigers has come down to such a great extent. And since India and Nepal provide habitat to about 2/3 of the surviving tiger population. So in the world, it is India and Nepal that are providing habitats for tigers. Lot of tiger preservation centers are there, tiger habitats are there in India and Nepal. So it is in the world, those two nations became prime targets for poaching and illegal trading. So since India and Nepal, they are providing a lot of habitats for these tigers. Lot of tigers are living at present in India and Nepal. So people from different countries, they even come here for hunting, for poaching, killing and so on. So they are in great danger, especially in India and Nepal, because a lot of people come for killing them, shooting them and so on. Then Project Tiger, one of the well published wildlife campaigns in the world, was launched in 1973. So government started this project called Project Tiger in 1973. So government started this project in 1973, and in the beginning it was showing success. It was able to protect the tiger, and the number of tigers were increasing. So from when we started this program, the number of tigers were 4,200, and it became 4,332. Then it became 3,000. Afterwards it became 3,600 and so on. So in the beginning, the population was, tiger population was 4,002. After a few years, it became 4,336. Then the number went down again. It became 3,600. That means quite many tigers were killed in between. And there were 39 tiger reserves in India, covering the area of 32,137.14 square kilometers. So there are 39 tiger reserve centers are there, forests are there for protecting the tigers. So it is covering the area of 32,127.14 square kilometers. Then tiger conservation has been viewed not only as an effort to save an endangered species. So why do we do this tiger conservation center or conservation forest? Is not only to protect the tiger that are getting extinct, but also with equal importance as a means of preserving biotypes of sizable magnitude. So it is not only just to protect the tiger, and also it is to give importance to preserve the biotypes. So all types of animals should be there, otherwise the world will become less important, we can say less rich, because one species is no more. So in order to avoid such a dangerous situation, that we are making this tiger reservation for reserve forest and so on. Then Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. So there is a place for keeping tiger in Uttarakhand, that is called Corbett National Park. Then Sundarbans National Park, that is in West Bengal. Then Bandgat National Park, that is in Madhya Pradesh. Then Sariska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan. Manas Tiger Reserve in Assam, and Periyar Tiger Reserve in Kerala. And so these are some of the examples. We said we have 39 tiger reserve centers are there, and so most of the states have got one each tiger reserves are there. So we need to make sure that protection is given and no one encroaches there, no one does the hunting, poaching, illegal trading, all that. So government has done a lot of things in order to protect and preserve the tigers, because they are aware about the great danger that is there, the great threat that is there to the animal life and also to the natural vegetation. So that way government has taken great step, and we need to cooperate with the government. We need to make ourselves clear that if I kill a tiger, then I'm doing great harm to myself, to the earth, to the society. So don't just think about the little benefit that I get, but the great harm that I am doing to others, to the nature, to the biodiversity. And so that is what should make us withdraw from our decision to kill or to poach the animals. So we must make sure that they are also part of this biodiversity and we do not destroy them. So we will wind up for today. Thank you for listening.